Episode 9 feels like a turning point. The storm gets louder, Kinmei starts talking about her past, and for a moment, it genuinely feels like the story is about to move forward. But then, episode 10 happens, and nothing continues. Episode 11 does the same thing, sets something up, lets it feel important, and then quietly moves on. And after a while, you start to notice it. This anime feels like it's progressing, but it never actually does. So the question is this intentional? Or is this story just avoiding its own answers? To understand why this feels strange, we have to go back to episode 9, because this is where the anime does something really important. It creates the feeling that the story is finally going somewhere. It starts simply. Kyo coming to Kinmei's shop to wait out the storm. A friend came with him, but she leaves early. Maybe just to give them space. That's my read. And then everything starts going wrong in that very rom-com way. The power goes out, a washing machine falls over outside in the rain, Kinmei is struggling, and Kyo helps her. Small thing, but it matters, because that's the moment she actually looks at him differently. And then the storm gets worse, so he has to stay the night. There is a spare room, but it's being used to dry the clothes, so they end up in the same room anyway. Classic setup. But it doesn't feel empty, because underneath all of it, something is building. Kinmei starts talking about thunder, about her memory, about how maybe the two things are connected. Maybe it goes back to Hatsushima Island. Maybe that's where it starts. She doesn't know, but she's thinking out loud. And that changes the weight of the whole conversation. Because up until now, her memory loss has just kind of existed. We know it's there, but we don't know why. But this feels different. This feels like the story finally pointing somewhere. And right when Kyo is about to respond, something about what he would do if she had forgotten him, forgotten all of them, in fact, she falls asleep. That sentence never gets finished. But even then, it doesn't feel like a problem, because the episode still gives you something, a direction, a connection, the feeling that the story knows where it's going. That's what makes episode 9 work. It convinces you this is progress. But then episode 10 happens, and instead of continuing any of that, the story just slows down. No follow up on the thunder and memory connection, no return to that almost conversation. Instead, the episode shifts into something quieter. A fallen tree from the storm gets cleared away, friend has an ink stain, Kinmei helps her fix it, almost perfectly, almost, but not quite 100%. And then she visits another friend, someone she's grown close to recently, who has two big dogs and a garden, and they just play outside and get muddy together. This friend tells her, "Because of you, I came out of my shell. I talk to people more now. I struggled with that in school." And Kinmei just says, "We are definitely friends, not strangers." It's a genuinely warm moment, and on its own, none of this is bad. These are the kinds of scenes this anime does really well. This show sits comfortably in the Iyashike space, that slow, healing slice of life genre that's more about atmosphere than plot momentum. And these quieter episodes are exactly where that tone shines. But the timing is what makes it feel off, because this comes right after an episode that felt like it was building towards something. And instead of continuing that direction, the story steps away from it completely. Even that ink stain reflects it. Almost clean, not quite. Episode 10 feels the same way, like something was almost carried forward, but never fully followed through. And then episode 11 does something even more telling. At first, it feels like we are moving again. Kyo gets asked to join the track team. He says he can't. He has to help at home, at the shop. A small moment, easy to miss, but it fits a pattern of characters choosing not to move forward. Then a teacher notices his school bag and comments on how clean it is. Says something about a person. And it does. It's Kinmei's work, from the night he forgot it after the storm. A small thread connecting everything, quietly, in the background. Then Kyo visits his family grave. On the way back, he runs into Kinmei. She tells him it's really nice that he came to pay his respects. He says it's normal. They are the reason he's here. And she says, "That's exactly why I like you so much." And for a second, it lands. Not like a setup, like something real. The colors are warmer, the wind moves her hair, everything about the scene says this matters. And then the wind lifts her skirt. Kyo runs off, embarrassed by the sight. And that's it. They don't return to it. No follow up, no consequence. The moment just evaporates. There is something almost darkly funny about it if you think about it. The show that keeps interrupting its own emotional momentum, this time does it literally. He physically runs away from the moment. Right after that, the episode introduces something new, a hidden storage shelf under the floor, a stuffed animal, an old receipt with an address. Kinmei cleans it up, tries to call the phone number, but no answer. She goes to the address, there is no house there anymore. And so she also asks the grandmother she rents from if she knows anything. The grandmother says maybe they just had a summer place and stopped coming. Don't worry about it. And then she says something I genuinely liked after the question from Kinmei on what she should do. Do what feels right to you. Everything happens for a reason. It's a warm line. Completely sincere. The kind of thing that lands in this genre. But it also doesn't give you a reason. It just tells you to trust that one exists. And that's exactly how this anime operates. Another mystery introduced. Another thread that leads nowhere. Another moment that felt important and then quietly didn't. At this point, it doesn't feel accidental. The same thing keeps happening. Something meaningful gets introduced, it feels important, and then the story moves on before anything actually changes. So the question is why? One reading is that this is completely intentional. That the anime isn't trying to give you answers. It wants you to sit in the uncertainty, to focus on small moments, everyday interactions, the feeling of something always just out of reach. And if that's what it's going for, then all of this makes sense. The unanswered questions, the interrupted confessions, the constant stepping away from resolution. It's not about solving the mystery, it's about living alongside it. That's a legitimate artistic choice. And honestly, for a show this gentle, it might even be the right one. But there is another way to look at it. Because we are at episode 11 out of 12, the show has introduced a connection between thunder and memory. Past that still hasn't been explained. Confession interrupted by the wind. A sentence that never got finished. An address that led to an empty lot. And none of it has gone anywhere. So instead of feeling intentional, it can start to feel like hesitation. Like the story keeps setting things up, but isn't quite ready to follow through. And that's where the real tension comes from. As a viewer, you can feel that something is there. You can see the shape of it. But the closer the story gets, the more it seems to pull away. And after a while, that creates a different question. Not just what happened to Kinmei, but is this story ever actually going to tell us? So with one episode left, we are in a strange place. The anime has shown us there is something deeper here. Past that isn't explained, connection that isn't fully understood, moments that feel like they should lead somewhere, and every time it gets close, it steps away. And here is the thing that makes this feel even more uncertain. Based on where this show sits right now in terms of reception and scores, I wouldn't say that a second season is guaranteed, which means episode 12 might be it. So going into the finale, the question isn't just what happened to Kinmei, it's whether this story was ever actually trying to answer that. Whether all of it, the hints, the setups, the almost moments, is building towards something real, or whether it was always meant to stay just out of reach. And honestly, that's what's going to decide how this whole anime feels in the end. But yeah, that's just how I see it. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I've already made a couple more videos on this anime, so if you want to check those out, definitely do. And I'm genuinely curious, do you feel like the story is building towards something or just avoiding it? Drop it in the comments. There is no wrong answer here. I just want to know where you land. And if there is another anime you would want to see covered, or anything you would want me to do differently, let me know down there too. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.